Hi guys, welcome to Face to Face Friday. My name is Robyn Smith. It's Friday and I'm here. Hopefully you're here. Last week I lost my voice. Like literally after the Face to Face Friday last week, within about 6 hours I had no voice. Gone. It's probably because of all that water I drank, which is why I'm drinking water today. But, okay, so I didn't do a Make With Me Monday, so we're going to do this Face to Face Friday, because I'm feeling better, got my voice back. Also, I did not know how long it takes to get over laryngitis. I couldn't speak for like literally Thursday was when I was finally able to like speak normally again. And even this morning I was on a phone call for like 30 minutes and there's gonna be probably a few points where my voice might like drop out. Why does it take so long to get over that? Sharon says hello. Hello, Sharon. Welcome to Face Friday. So today we're gonna make some bath bombs because I am like way behind. I wanted to make a bunch of like rainbow stuff for Pride, and yet I haven't made anything yet because I'm so behind, but that's okay. Today we're going to make some rainbows. So I figured that we could do that today. The fragrance I'm using is Volcano Capri Blue. Ooh, it's very fruity, it smells very nice. And I am using, and I apologize you guys, like if I am like sniffling, like the amount of mucus that has come out of me over the past week is beyond disgusting. Like, why does my body have so much extra mucus? I don't understand. I literally think that's like the main reason I lost my voice was like from coughing up crud. It was gross. Kathy says hi. Hi, Kathy. Sarah Beth says hi. And Alicia says hi. Hi, guys. Welcome to Face Friday. So yeah, so I just forgive me. I'm going to try really hard not to like the whole time because it sounds really gross, I'm sure. Sorry, I'm trying my best. Anyway, so here we have okay, I mentioned last week. Did I make bath bombs last week? I think I did. And I mentioned last week that my humidity was like oddly low. So we've been having like these weird, we're kind of like in a drought right now in our area. And by drought, I mean that the humidity is at like 50%. And it hasn't rained every single literal day. Because Houston is basically like a rainforest. And it rains all the time here, usually. So we're kind of not doing that recently. And so it's kind of dry. So I'm able to use our low humidity recipe today. So this is a double batch, and it should make 8 of these rainbows, so we'll see. Lena says, do I have allergies? Yes, I do have allergies. I have, I usually take citrazine, and then I usually live off of, like I carry Benadryl with me everywhere I go. Because I never know like if I'm going to have like an emergency Benadryl need. And I had a hike. So my younger son and I have been doing like a lot of hikes this summer. We decided this is like hike girl summer, hike boy summer. We're not going to do hot girl summer because that's dumb. So we're going to do like a lot of hikes. And I have had like a few hikes where like I take a Benadryl before I go, or like a half a Benadryl before I go, and usually like that's good, but like it hasn't been enough. And I have this thing, if anybody knows what this is, oh my god, this is like perfect. Somebody diagnose me. I'm like basically allergic to my sweat. It makes it very awkward whenever I sweat. So like if I sweat at all, I turn like bright red and I get like hives, basically from my own sweat. So it's one of the reasons I hate doing things outside, but I'm trying to get over it and like taking Benadryl and stuff like that so I can just be healthy and do it anyway. But like when I was in high school, I ran track and they called me, you know what they called me? In love. I'm sure it was in love because I was like so nerdy and popular. No, lobster, because I would get bright red. So I get very red, like I have very sensitive skin anyway. So who knows what caused it, but I'm here today. Oh, Jackie says that they love my shirt. Thank you. I'm like way behind on it, but I had committed to do a 51-mile ride for Pride Month, and you can like walk, you can ride, you can hike, you can do, you can ride a bike, you can do all kinds of things. But anyways, to bring awareness to the Trevor Project, which helps trans kids or LGBTQIA kids, and is like helps prevent does suicide prevention and stuff for them. So I'm a little bit behind because I was sick, but that's okay. I'm like super committed to doing it, so I'm just gonna have to ride my bike more than I thought I would, which okay. So that was okay. So in there, I guess I should talk about what I'm doing. I had bath bomb mix. I added my liquids to it. And then I'm adding my citric acid now. I added like, what was this? I added like maybe an 1/8 teaspoon of Blue Lake 1 because I want it to have like a really light blue color, but I don't want it to contrast with these rainbow embeds that you see right here. And so these are gonna go, this is the mold I have. This is from Inedible Soaps. And it is what I call a shell and lip mold. So I don't know if you can see, but there's like a shell. This is the shell, and then it has a small lip on the back, which keeps this piece in place. When I put that in, it's a little bit different than the press through molds. And then some molds have where this piece has a lip on it and you put it in the back. So instead the shell has the lip. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll fill it up with bath bomb mix. I've done these before and I know it works. It's not gonna be like a perfect way across, but then you can add the rainbow bar in there and it won't come out perfectly because obviously the bottom of that is like not straight, but it's fine. It's fine. It looks good in the water. It's fun. Kids like it. Adults like it. Everybody likes it. And Sarah Beth says, have I looked into Botox for my sweat glands? Oh my gosh. No, but like, if I medically need Botox, I am willing to sacrifice for that and do that. Also, I sweat all the time in my forehead. By the way, doctor. Also, maybe sometimes in my lips I sweat. No, I have never heard of that, although I have heard of like Botox for migraines. So it's like really interesting to me, like the different things that these things can be used for, right? So, okay, here's the deal though. So I'm using the low humidity recipe, but my humidity is at like 53%. This is a little bit of a risk for me because so people ask what humidity can the two low humidity or high humidity recipe, like what do they work for? So I feel like either one between like 40 to 60% humidity, either one would probably work. Okay, but I feel like the high humidity works best above 60% humidity, and the low humidity works best below 40% humidity. So there's kind of like that gray area right there in the middle where like either one will pretty much work. But because this is like lower humidity than what I'm used to, I'm going with the low humidity recipe today, and we will see how she do. If it doesn't work out as I hope, that's fine. I'll just turn it into bath dust. I don't care. But I think it'll be fine, right? Dan says, how am I feeling? I am feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. Feeling pretty good. Other people in my house are sick now. Whoops, my bad. But I feel pretty good. So. And look, I'm sorry, I have to get some more water, but I want to tell y'all a story about this water bottle. Is this a cool water bottle or what? So we got these water bottles at the conference, the HSCG conference, and I got home with it, and my younger son, who I'm going on hikes with, right? He's like, he wanted a water bottle for one of the hikes, and so I packed that one for him. And so like the whole hike, he's like, this is so good. The water in this is like ice cold. And I'm like there drinking like water from my water bottle that is like tepid, because it's a 4-mile hike, which is like basically 2 hours, like, well, it's like longer than a 4-mile hike. It was like a 2-hour hike. So he's like, the water in this is so cold. This is amazing. You should get one for yourself. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I did have one for myself. I just can't remember what I did with it, you know, because you're drinking out of it. Anyway. So I had an extra one sent to me so kindly by the HSCG, because I was like, hi, hello. I would like to drink cold water too. Is that possible? And they said yes, and so they helped me out. So I appreciate that a lot. Okay, so the weight of this, now it has an embed in it, so keep in mind that like I can't fill this up all the way because there's an embed in it. And as I'm doing this, because there's an embed in it, it's not laying quite flat. Hold on, sorry, let's move this stuff out of the way so I can do my slides that I like to do. Okay, so just keep in mind that it may not be flat or even, and then that might cause cracking on it, right? So we can see that it's not even, so it may cause cracking. So next one, I may have to fill more on this side to balance it out where that embed is, right? So I don't know if there's like another way to unmold these that are like in the shell, but I think that that's a good way to do it right there, and I'll show you again on the next one. Perfect. Oh, it's cracking just a little. Oh no. Actually, she's cracking a lot. We'll leave her there for a second. She could be cracking because she's activating. Or it could be cracking because it's uneven. We'll just leave it there and see. Maybe mix this up a little bit more. Can I use a plunger? You can use a plunger. I don't have one. I had one because I had an ElectroPress, and then I sold my ElectroPress. So, I think you could use a plunger, but you don't really need a plunger with this mold, and I'll show you again when I do it again. I mean, if you feel like you need one, then like, yeah, use one. Like, there's no harm in using one. Okay, so I'm gonna fill it up, and then this time I'm gonna add like a little bit extra to this top portion. Yeah, right there. And then let's use this rainbow embed bar, and I may just, you know, if they keep causing trouble, I may like cut out the rainbow embed bars completely. I do have the like individual colors that I used last week when I did those peace signs. So interestingly enough, the weight is still the same, so we'll see what that's all about. Okay, but this is pressing more evenly. Like it's still not quite even, but it's like more even than it was. And then I'm just gonna press. Now you guys, let's talk about rainbow in bed bars. Are they worth it? You tell me. I don't think so personally. Unpopular opinion, but I don't think so. Okay, so what I do is for these with the shell and the lip, I press it up out of the shell just a little bit, and then that way when I go to flip it, I can just flip it like that, pull up the shell, give it a little knock. That one's better. So I'm gonna redo the first one when everything's said and done. We'll see. It's gonna have like little speckles of color in it now at this point, so it's like so okay, so Kathy, so then we talked about, yeah, you don't have to really use the plunger for this one. And then so Alma says, do I recommend a perfect weight size to float, or does that not matter? Whoa, there's a lot going on with that. Okay, so personally, I don't think that it matters if they float. So there's a start for that. But also, additionally, I've had bath bombs that weighed like a pound. So if you go watch on our YouTube, we have the we have where I did the Kata dragon egg mold, and that one weighed at least, I think it weighed a pound. It might have weighed a little bit more than a pound, and it floated. So the weight of the bath bomb is not really going to determine whether or not a bath bomb floats. What determines how a bath bomb floats, and Amanda wrote a blog post about this, and it's a really good blog post. So I definitely recommend, like, I'll link it at the top. So I definitely recommend reading that. But my opinion is that the things that matter the most are the shape. So I think my experience has been that, like, flatter bath bombs tend to float better because they have, like, more surface area to float. But it's not always true, because I've had flat ones sink like stones. And then sometimes it's the ingredients. I think that bath bombs that have a bunch of kaolin clay are going to be more likely to sink just because of, like, its weight density, and that's something that Amanda goes into in that article, which is one of the reasons I'm going to link it so you can read about that. But, like, the weight density can make a huge difference. And so it's one of the reasons I like cornstarch in a bath bomb mix, is because cornstarch is really light for its density, and so it can help with floating, in my opinion, right? But then the most important thing is how it's packed. And I think that most bath bomb makers would agree that it's really about how a bath bomb's packed. And we talk about packing. That's where, like, you know, I'm sprinkling it in, I'm tapping it down. So I like my mix to be really light and fluffy like this. And people will, like, sometimes comment on my lives or on, like, the YouTube on a video, and they'll say, like, oh, my mix looks too dry. But that's just because of the, like, ingredients that we have in it. But a light fluffy mix that you, like, sprinkle in, so there's, like, little tiny kind of air pockets hidden in there, I think that that's the most important factor in whether or not they float. But I've had bath bombs and I will say this forever, I've had bath bombs that are from the same batch, where, like, this one sinks and this one floats. That's why I had a wholesaler at one point contact me, and they wanted to wholesale bath bombs from me, but they wanted, okay, they wanted me to guarantee that the bath bombs would float. And I was like, you can go take a long walk off a short pier, okay? Because I am not going to guarantee that. Like, no, you're funny. You just can't guarantee that. There's like literally, most of mine will float now, but like not all of them. And I can't guarantee that they will or won't, so yeah. Just my opinion, though. I could be wrong. Lena says you can make bath bomb floaties with 3D printers, and I have seen those, and they look awesome. I think the first person I saw doing them was Winnie and Walt, but I'm sure other people have done them. And it's like, my bubble baskets are up there. This is the second time I've needed them. They're up there. It's kind of like a bubble basket though, and you put it in the water and then you put the bath bomb in it. Because like, so a 3D printed bath bomb, I feel like is a lot easier to get it to float because you can like sprinkle the mix in. But like a vacuum form bath bomb, you have to like really press the bath bombs in there to get them to mold correctly. And so they tend to sink, not all of them, obviously. It must be like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is it infuriating to hear me talk? Because I'm like, I won't say like firm statements. Like I'm like I guess I'm like very political sometimes about what I'm like, well, it could. It might. It's possible that that will happen, but I won't make any solid statements about it because, I mean, the thing is, like, bath bombs are just still so new. Like, there's, like, so much that's still to be explored, and so, like, I hate to say, and I hate to because I hate to read those comments. I hate to be in groups where people are like, you have to do it this way. I'm like, says who? Like, says why, you know? I think somebody in Saponification Nation this week asked, actually, I know who it was. It was you. You're there. Asked about light containers and like when you could clean your light container, like how do you clean it? And there were like so many people who are like, never use dish soap on your light containers. That's like the end of the world. Like you're gonna ruin them forever and you're gonna get lye lint and all this stuff. And I was like, or not. Like maybe not though. Here's my light containers, and the number one rule is that these are never ever used to mix soap. So if I'm out of mixing, what are these called? If I'm out of these and I don't have anything else to mix the color in, like I will clean one of those before I will mix it in that. So like that container will never ever have any kind of oil or soap in it. And to me, like that's the most important thing, and that keeps my light containers clear and free and good. But my goal for bath bombs is that like we be open-minded to like that there's different ways to do it, which is why you'll definitely hear me say like sometimes people are like, oh, Robyn says this, and I'm like, yo, God, don't quote me, oh my God. There's other ways other than my way or Amanda's way, and it's like it's good to have lots of perspectives. It's good. It's important, I feel. Sarah Beth says that in 6 years you've never had anybody complain that they didn't float, and then nobody commented if they did float. I can say that the only thing that I've had is that I had somebody who messaged me to tell me that there was something wrong with my bath bombs because it floated the whole time. I hope that the collective agony just sent a signal into the universe, you know, and that the bath bomb gods heard my plea right then, because that is the only thing anybody has ever commented on my bath bombs, was that it floated the whole time, so there's something wrong with it. So anyway, yeah, I think that it's one of those things, like, it's cool if they do float. I don't think that people expect it. I think that people send me videos of their bath bombs where they're like, I loved my bath bomb, and they like throw it into the water and then they walk away, and they're like, when I came back, the water looks so pretty. Like, they don't even sit there and watch it. They want the whole thing. Look, the universe, the planet is full of all kinds of different people. But I think that the people who worry most about bath bombs floating are bath bomb makers. So I think it's like an industry kink where it's like, we're worried about it. Nobody else is worried about it. We're the ones that are worried about it. So, and I just did a video on my YouTube where I showed store-bought bath bombs versus, well, I showed like cheap, middle to cheap. They range from prices of like $2.50 to $8. So I didn't do like high-end bath bombs. I just did like the ones that, like, you know, when your bath bomb regulars send you a message and they're like, I cheated on you and I regret it, because I've had those messages before. Okay, these are the bath bombs that they are quote-unquote cheating on me with. So and they were terrible, and they didn't float, or one of them floated, but it was like so boring. So yeah, it doesn't matter. That's just me though. Hello from Arkansas. They just bought the Wonder Bar recipe and can't wait to try it. And then just had an order for a few things. Oh, there's so much ratings. Yay. I'm glad. Wonder Bar is awesome. It's like one of my faves. It's like one of my faves. And actually I have a couple of blog posts while I couldn't talk this week. I worked on some blog posts about rebatching Wonder Bar, which I said I was going to do. So that will be up very soon. I just wanted to get like all 3 of them like ready to go, so I didn't have like a thing where I'll leave you hanging. So yeah, so we're going to have that. So Danielle says, so the flat pressed bath bombs tend not to float. Am I understanding that correctly? No. I think that flatter bath bombs sometimes are more likely to float, but it's really about how it's packed. So I'll show you on the next one that I do, because the next one I'll remake that first one that I did where it crumbled, and then I will show you. I kind of don't mind if I like jack them up a little bit, because I'm going to remake them. So I'll show you on that one, but it has more to do with how it's packed, I think, than, I mean, shape does play a small role, but I do think it has more to do with how the bath bomb is packed. So let me flip this guy out and I'll show you this last one. Okay, so this is the very first one I did, and it's cracked, and the embed inside is cracked too. So yeah. One of the things you can do if that happens is, so this is what Amanda and I call a dump bucket or dump bowl, where you can put like broken ones, so because the colors are going to be mixed, it won't be straight blue now. So what I'm going to do is use this mix that is nice and blue and hasn't been contaminated yet, and that's going to be on the surface of the bath bomb, because that's the front of it right there. So now I'm going to mix this in, and I'm just going to pack it in really tight to show you. I'm taking out the clumps of embed that I can find, and the rest of it I'm just going to mix in. So I think what tends to happen is when we talk about packing, a lot of people have seen, and our recipes are a little bit different, and so I think we're like trying to create a new way of like thinking about bath bombs. That's one of the things like Amanda and I are really trying to do. So one of the things people do is they'll say like, oh, And sometimes you do have to do this, okay, but not probably to this extreme that I'm going to do it. So, you know, if you have details that won't come out correctly, some people say like, oh, you got to press those details in, which is fine. But then I would have filled it like this the rest of the way, and you see it's nice and fluffy, and there's going to be a bunch of air pockets in there. But what people have been trained to do is that, oh, they need to pack that bath bomb in there. So they're like, you know, they're really packing it in there. Now, any of those little air pockets that were in there are already smushed. And then when I go like this and smush the back with it even further, we have a really dense bath bomb here now. So these other ones weighed like, let's see, how much do they weigh? They're going to lose a little bit of weight as they cure. But, for example, don't move your bath bombs right after you make them. This is bad, but, so that one weighs 4.45 ounces. And then let's see how much this guy is going to weigh. He's going to be significantly heavier, but it's not the weight as much as the density. So he's also going to be like way more dense. Okay, so this one's 5.15, so, or 5.12. So it's like 0.6 ounces heavier, and it's also dense. So the density is really what's going to make the difference in whether or not this guy floats versus this guy. So that's just something to like think about, like when you're packing it. You know, a light fluffy packing is gonna go further. And if you need to pack, so like these rainbows, right, have these like kind of poofy clouds to them. Say that detail wasn't coming out clearly. One of the things I could do is, like I showed, when I have that first layer of mix-in, I could have just like lightly tapped it in, but then I would have lightly filled it the rest of the way, not packing it like super hard, and then you know, unmolding it. So yeah, I know it's like kind of a lot, but I will include a link to the blog post that Amanda wrote so that you can read more about it, and like maybe it can help you understand. Dragon egg, and it floated, so you can see like weight doesn't really have a huge part in it. It's more about the, obviously I'll include a link to this mold and to the recipe, which is our low humidity recipe, and even at 50% humidity it still did a great job today. So that's why we say between about 40% and 60%, pretty much either one will work, with them performing best at those like that extreme range for the high humidity, and then that extreme low for the low humidity. Yeah, and if you guys have any other questions, make sure that you drop them down in the comments below. And in a couple days, I'm going to paint these, and they will go out to people who will love them, whether they float or not. That's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and as always, happy making.